This is a matter of Dozeman versus Van Beek, case number 25. We are here for a duly noticed divorce trial in this matter.
The parties went to mediation on, or mediation was held June 17th of 2026. We reached agreement on as many issues as we could. One of the issues, so the issues that are settled, is each party is going to keep whatever the balances are in their bank accounts. Each party is going to keep whatever equity or debt, as the case may be, in their motor vehicles. With the so that's not going to enter the equation of the equalization, marital equalization, with the exception of a 1998 Fat Boy motorcycle that Mr. Van Beek owns or bought, essentially bought during the marriage. We agreed on the value at $3,500. Parties also agreed to use December 31, 2025 as the valuation date for their respective retirement plans. And we will have exhibits that will have the statements for each of their retirement plans. They also agreed that the defendant was going to remove his personal property from the garage of the house. We further agreed that the defendant was going to remove the fish tanks from the house, which I believe happened last week or the week before. Let's see here. Depending on what this court decides, the parties agreed that they will cooperate to execute it quadro, whatever that amount may be, from plaintiff's retirement plan. Although we agreed that the defendant would remove personal items from the house, which included fish tanks, tools, a lot of stuff, we did not assign any value to it. That is something that we will be dealing with today. The things that are at issue then, unless I've missed any. Plaintiff owned a house, 2 years, bought it 2 years before the marriage. And we have an appraisal we'll be submitting, and mortgage statements of the date of marriage and now. We've agreed that plaintiff's going to keep the house, but the only question is what value would be assigned to the house, or what percentage of the value would be assigned for the house and the equalization. Retirement accounts, plaintiff had one prior to the marriage. Defendant's was open during the marriage, and the only question again with those is what percentage goes to plaintiff on the divorce or marital equalization. At issue is the debts. Plaintiff has no debts. Defendant has what I would say considerable credit card and personal loans debt. And there is just he is seeking to have plaintiff pay half of that debt, and plaintiff's position is that it is his debt. And I think that covers it. Oh, final one is the plaintiff is seeking for an unequal division of assets, in this case, based on fault, defendant's fault for the breakdown of the marriage. The court will hear, well, I'll leave that for testimony, but just the point is plaintiff is seeking a 65% division or percentage of the assets of this 5-year marriage based on fault. I think that I covered it all.
Schultz?
I think that covers all the agreements that were reached. I just want to clarify regarding personal property, there is, some dispute about, whether all personal property that was agreed upon is received, etc. So the court will hear some testimony about that. But otherwise, Mr. Block covered it.
Okay. All right. Mr. Block.
First witness we would call, since we're waiving or opening statements, I would call the plaintiff to testify.
All right, would you raise your right hand, please? Would you state your name for the record and spell it?
Caitlin Dozman, Kaitlin, Dozman, Dozeman.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Block.
Thank you. Caitlin, tell us real briefly about yourself.
My name is Caitlin Dozman. I'm 37 years old. I grew up in the Granville, Wyoming area. I graduated from Calvin Christian High School in 2007. I started working at Costco in 2010. I was there for roughly 15 years. I have since left my job and am in pursuit of starting my own business.
When did you and the defendant get married?
June 19th, 2021.
And prior to that, you had cohabited for a while.
Yes.
Can you tell us the purchase of the marital home? What funds did you use to purchase the home?
I used the inheritance I received from my mother passing away that I got to use the down payment on the home of what was it, $26,000, $898.
And if I show you what's been marked as plaintiff's exhibit, I'd like to show plaintiff's exhibit 2, which does have personal or account information.
All right, we will stop.
Ms. Dozman, we just spent a little time looking at, I think it was 3 or 4 credit cards and loans and purchases. How did you and Mr. Van Beek, did you combine your finances during the marriage?
No, we always had separate bank accounts.
Even when you were cohabiting?
Absolutely.
So did you talk or did you have any joint accounts whatsoever?
No, we did not.
How did the bills get paid during your 5-year marriage?
I paid for the mortgage, consumers, DTE, water, and groceries. Mr. Van Beek paid for trash and internet.
That was it?
Yes.
Did he buy groceries?
No, we did not.
Who bought dog food?
I did.
Who paid vet bills?
That was a shared expense, mostly me.
So was Mr. Van Beek working during this time?
Yes, he was.
What was he spending his money on?
It's a great question. We had to have the Amazon truck at our house every day. Tools, aquarium items. Mr. Van Beek liked to gamble a lot. He liked to go out and drink a lot.
So is it a fair statement that he earned his money and he spent it and didn't bring it to the house?
That is correct.
You didn't share in the money?
That is correct.
And you worked at Costco?
Yes.
And about how much were you making there an hour?
About $26 an hour.
And you used your money essentially to keep the house running?
Yes.
You paid the mortgage
Yes, I did.
and all the utilities?
Yes, I did.
Was there any time that you and him shared finances?
No.
Did you have any idea that he had numerous credit cards?
I knew he had credit cards. I didn't know the extent of the debt.
Oh, that was just not something you talked about?
That is correct.
With regard to the marital home, did Mr. Van Beek make any payments on the marital home?
No, he did not.
Any mortgage payments?
No.
Did he pay to have some repairs done?
He did most repairs himself that I now have to fix.
What do you mean by that?
There was a porch door that he had replaced. When he took the original door out, he didn't seal off the bottom of it to the porch, and now my house is infested with mice. That was in 2021, I believe. And it's going to cost me over $2,000 to get an exterminator out there now, because there was a crack in the frame of the wall where it was wide open, going out to the porch.
Did he do other repairs too?
Yes, he did.
And how did those turn out?
Not well. He would never fully finish a project. The sliding door he put in for the outdoor porch is still not framed out. The door that he replaced is still not framed out. There is trim around my house that is still not up. He also drilled holes for the water line for the fridge that had leaked, and the ceiling in the basement is collapsing. That's been like that since 2022.
But so the repairs he did were not really repairs at all?
No, they were more like Band-Aids.
Oh, tell me about when you get married in June of 2021, and tell me how your marriage went after that.
Not great. The night of our wedding, Mr. Van Beek decided to drink too much. It was my best decision to have someone take him home. While I told him that a friend of ours was going to take him home, he pushed me in the parking lot.
You were at a bar or somewhere?
Yes, we were at the reception, which was at a bar.
Okay.
He got home. I had finished cleaning up the venue from our wedding, paying the bar tab, when I had gotten a phone call from his daughter, very distraught, saying I need to get home right away, that her dad was laying on the ground, not waking up, throwing up blood.
What did you do?
I finished paying the bar tab, and I had to have one of his coworkers at the time bring me home on my wedding night, where they came in and had to help me carry Mr. Van Beek to the bed.
After that, and I was in June on your wedding night, you said?
Yes.
How did things go during that summer of 2021?
They were okay. It wasn't always a hard time. Mr. Van Beek worked third shift. I worked first. We truthfully didn't really see each other that much.
And was there any further domestic incidents?
Yes.
When would that have been?
The first one was end of January 2022. We had went bowling, went to the bar afterwards, where Mr. Van Beek was talking with a friend. Someone brought up the military. He got very upset. We were leaving the bar. He was screaming at me the whole way home in the car. Once we got home, he just started screaming, yelling, got very irate, pushed me a few times. He slapped me. He spit on me. At that point, I had called his mother, Carla Van Beek, who lives 2 houses down, to see if she would come over and help me calm him down.
Did she come over?
She did. Upon entering the house, Mr. Van Beek had pushed his mom, and she had twisted her ankle. That night, he would not calm down. He fell, breaking the coffee table in the living room. Eventually, probably about 3 hours later, he did eventually pass out. He had no recollection of it the next morning when we had talked about it. And then February 27th, 2022, I was attacked again, not even a month later.
What happened? Or what started it? Had he been drinking again or what?
Yes. He had been drinking. I really don't even know what started the fight. He was very irate. He was screaming at me. Again, I was pushed. I was shoved down to the ground. I tried to get away. I ran through the hallway, and that is where Mr. Van Beek shoved me through our bathroom door and got on top of me. I had a cut on my head from that. I was able to get away and try to go out to the living room. And that is where he followed me and grabbed me by the neck, strangled me.
Did you lose consciousness?
Yes. He strangled me, pushed me down on the couch. I was again able to get away. I ran to his mother's house, Carla Van Beek. Again, she was 2 houses down. We tried to get in the house quickly. He pushed her again. From there, I locked myself in her bathroom with a knife. Mr. Van Beek had broken down the door and tried to come at me again. And it was at that moment that the Wyoming police came in. It took, I believe, 3 or 4 cops just to even get him down. He was arrested and released the next day, not even seeing a judge. Was released to come back home right to me.
How often would Mr. Van Beek drink during your marriage?
Quite often.
What does that mean? Quite
Um,
often.
Probably, he wouldn't drink every day, but when he would drink, it would be a lot. Would probably be 3, 4 times a month where he would get completely belligerent.
Meaning he was belligerent what?
He would black out. He wouldn't remember anything.
From alcohol?
Yes.
What happened on February 3rd of 2022?
It was my birthday. We had gone out to celebrate. We went to the bar. At this time, my father had been diagnosed with liver cancer. Mr. Van Beek repeatedly would tell me that my father just needed to hurry up and die. He never
Just
helped
one
me.
moment, Mr. Van Beek, you need to not make all of these expressions and rolling your eyes and shaking your head and all of that. Just sit calmly. Your attorney will cross-examine her, okay? All right, go ahead.
Kind of forgot where I was. February 3rd, 2022 was when he had told me that my dad needed to hurry up and die. I was obviously upset. I walked home from the bar in the middle or beginning of February in the winter. He was never supportive or compassionate, I guess you would say, towards anything dealing with my father and his diagnosis.
Your dad passed away in 2022?
Yes, after the second domestic violence, on February 27th, 2022, my dad's illness had gotten worse. I needed to step in, and hospice was called. They don't do 24-hour at-home care, so I took off essentially the whole month of March to be my dad's full-time caregiver. And he passed not even a month after the domestic violence where I was assaulted.
Were you able to return to work?
Yes.
What happened in February, and did the domestic violence continue?
Yes, he would continue to get very drunk. Not remember things. It was February 3rd, 2023. My birthday, we were out celebrating again. I was still very much struggling with going through the domestic violence, and then not even a month later, losing my dad. Mentally, I was not great. That following year on my birthday, February 3rd, 2023, I had drank too much at the bar. Mr. Van Beek took me home. I woke up the next morning with no pants on, laying face down in my own puke, where Mr. Van Beek proceeded to laugh and find it humorous and tell me that he knew I was drunk and I wouldn't remember, so he thought he was going to
Your
have
Honor,
sex.
I'm going to object to this line of questioning at this point. I mean, I think we're getting really into the weeds at this point on things that have happened at least 4 or 5 years ago. And this is frankly the first time that I'm hearing about any of this. So I just don't think it's relevant.
Mr. Block?
Well, it's relevant to our request for a unequal division of property, unequal division of property in this case. The fault for causing the breakdown of this marriage.
I will overrule the objection on that basis.
So, did he have intercourse with you on that night?
He told me no, because that was when I had thrown up and he left me there. Again, laying in my own puke. He had ripped off my pants, joked about it the next morning, and said, "You can't rape your wife." And there were several instances I would wake up to Mr. Van Beek either ripping my pants off or being on top of me, raping me.
Raping you
Yes,
without your consent?
that is correct.
Did you call the police on on any of these incidents?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Embarrassment, shame. I mean, we were married, but
At some point, did you have a suicide attempt?
yes, I did. July 6, 2024, I had a suicide attempt. I was really at a loss, just kind of with everything,
When you say everything, what do you mean?
dealing with the abuse, physical, mental, emotional, financial. I couldn't take it anymore. I took a bottle of pills. I had essentially texted Mr. Van Beek saying my goodbyes. He rushed home. I did a 3-day hold in Trinity Health. Since that instance, I have been 100% sober. I found religion. I got baptized. The night of my baptism, Mr. Van Beek got so drunk, I would pick him up from the bar again.
Has he ever, now Mr. Van Beek was in the military?
Yes, he was.
Do you know where?
I think he was in Iraq.
And were there firearms in the house?
Yes.
Did he ever threaten to kill you?
He has numerous times pulled out his 9mm and pointed it at my head, telling me to shoot myself. or if I ever left him or cheated on him, he would shoot me.
And this would have happened, you said, several times or many times?
Probably 4 to 5 times over the course of our relationship.
Were there, you said there was emotional abuse. What, describe for us briefly what you mean by that?
Mr. Van Beek was just not a very compassionate person. He never really helped emotionally, even when I was going through with the death of my father. He didn't help at all. He didn't help me take care of him. There were times I would come home from my father's and his kids would be there. It would be 8, 9 o'clock at night and the kids still hadn't eaten dinner.
So who made him dinner?
I usually door dashed them something.
And were there, did Mr. Van Beek like surveillance cameras?
Yes, he did.
Can you tell the judge a little bit about that?
There were cameras all over the house, inside and out. When we first bought the house, he had mounted one in the living room. And when I would be out on the porch visiting with his mother, he would start talking to us through the camera. Upon Mr. Van Beek's leaving of the house, I was doing some cleaning and found a camera up in the closet facing the bed.
When did you find the camera in the closet facing the bed?
It was, I would like to say, most likely beginning of December 2025.
So after he had left the house?
That's correct.
Did you know there was a camera in the closet facing the bed?
No.
Was it active?
I'm not sure. I never had access to any of the cameras.
And the camera was clearly facing the bed.
Yes.
Once he moved out, what did you do with the cameras?
I took them down. I put them in a box and put them out in the garage with the rest of his items.
That's a good segue into the personal property items. Did Mr. Van Beek came to the house to pick up personal property items? I think we arranged that at mediation, if I'm not mistaken. When did he come to the house or the garage, I guess, to pick up his items?
Roughly end of July, I would like to say, 28th, 29th, around there.
Was it June, maybe?
Or June, yes.
And what did he take?
He took all his tools, the snow blower, lawnmower, TVs, computers, desks, his clothes, I guess audit and things of his items.
I'm going to show you a list that's been marked as Exhibit 8. And you don't need to stop streaming, Judge. This has no identifying information on it. You tell me what this list is.
That was the list of Mr. Van Beek made of his personal items.
Now, were these personal items or these were items from the house?
items from the house.
Were a lot of them purchased during the marriage?
Yes, there were.
And there seem to be values attached to these items.
That's correct.
Do you agree with these values?
Yes,
So the first item is what?
a 180-gallon aquarium. Associated supplies and fish for $3,000.
Who has that? That was purchased during the marriage?
Yes, it was.
Who has that item now?
Mr. Van Beek.
The second item, same question.
75-gallon aquarium, $800.
And who
Mr.
has that item?
Mr. Van Beek.
Was that purchased during the marriage?
That one was purchased before the marriage.
Right, let's go to number 3. What is that one?
All his tools listed as 3,500. He took all of those,
35,000?
or 35,000.
How many of those do you think were purchased during the marriage?
Oh gosh, I have half, maybe a little less than half.
Well, you had testified earlier that there were trucks, Amazon trucks coming to the house all the time?
Yes, and then he had the Snap-on gentleman from work at his employer's office.
And this was during the marriage?
Yes,
There's other items on here. I'm gonna skip down to number 6, which are the 5, which is the security cameras, for $800. Who has those?
Mr. Van Beek.
What about the lawnmower on number 6?
Mr. Van Beek has it.
Now, was that something you had bought prior to the marriage?
If I remember correctly, he bought the lawnmower and I purchased the snowblower.
Which leads us into item number 7. What is that?
A snowblower listed for $1,000.
Who has that snow blower?
Mr. Van Beek does.
And your testimony was you purchased that prior to the marriage?
Yes,
Let's go down to, who has the wireless router, number 8?
Mr. Van Beek.
That would have been picked up by him then when he picked up his items from the house.
That's correct.
Item number 9,
A 75-inch TV that Mr. Van Beek has.
number 10,
Custom headboard made by the defendant, $150.
who has that?
I have that and the bed.
The bed is number 18.
That is correct.
Why do you have those?
Because when Mr. Van Beek made the headboard, he bolted it to the wall. And in order for me to even take that off, it's going to leave a huge hole in the wall.
And why did you keep the bed?
I don't make 100 grand a year. I'm not working. It's the only bed I have. I need a bed to sleep in. He had already taken a previous bed from the house.
Okay. Let's just maybe do 11 and 12. What are those?
The grill for $200 and a smoker for $350.
Who has those?
Mr. Van Beek took those with him.
Items 13 and 14.
Washer and dryer listed as $1,500 and refrigerator listed as $1,600.
Who has those items?
I have those items.
And it is your desire to keep them, correct? Have the court award those to you?
Yes, it is. I purchased the dryer.
When did you purchase the dryer, do you recall?
2019, I believe.
And that would have been a couple of years before the marriage?
Yeah.
Where'd you buy it from, do you recall?
I believe Lowe's.
Okay, what about the refrigerator, number 14?
I have that.
Number 15, the stove.
That is also in my home.
Number 16, the Harley Davidson wall pieces.
I guess I'm confused on really what that is. Everything Harley Davidson that was in the house, I put out in the garage for him.
Would that possibly be the clocks?
Yeah,
But does he have everything that was, any Harley Davidson pieces would have been given to Mr. Van Beek?
yes.
Okay, the number 19, who has that?
The 36-gallon aquarium for $400, Mr. Van Beek has.
And finally, number 20.
42-inch TV for $200 is also with Mr. Van Beek.
And almost all of these items were purchased during the marriage,
That is correct.
and you just detailed which ones Mr. Van Beek is, correct?
Correct.
Well, you have the washer, the dryer, the refrigerator, stove, and essentially the bed and the headboard,
That is correct.
and he has everything else?
That's correct.
Tell me about the dogs. I believe you purchased some dogs prior to the marriage. I believe one was named Pebbles and one was named Rogue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that came about?
Yes, we had discussed getting a Rottweiler for home protection due to Mr. Van Beek worked third shift and I would be home by myself at night. I believe November 9th, 2020, we had rode down to Indiana and picked out Pebbles. Mr. Van Beek picked him out. A few months later, we had discussed getting a second dog as a companion for not only Pebbles, but for myself as well, for extra protection. And it was, I believe, February 9th, 2021, we had went and Mr. Van Beek told me to pick out the puppy that I wanted.
You just said 2001. Did you mean 2021?
2021, excuse
Right.
me.
Continue.
Because he had the say in picking out the male Rottweiler Pebbles, he agreed that I would be able to pick out the female as a protection for me.
Did you go with him or did you go together to buy the Rogue?
Yeah, yes, we did.
I should have asked you, what was the name of the dog you picked out?
Rogue.
Okay, and you were cohabiting during this time?
Yes, we were. We bought Pebbles again, I believe it was November 9th, 2020. We got engaged November 12th, 2020.
And you bought Rogue in February 2021?
That's correct.
And who has Rogue now?
I do.
During your marriage, who would take care of the dogs?
I would.
Who would feed them?
Mostly me.
Who bought dog food?
I purchased it from my job at Costco.
And you still have Rogue?
Yes, I do.
You're asking the court to award Rogue, the dog Rogue, to you.
Yes,
And you tell the judge why Rogue should be awarded to you.
I do believe Rogue should be awarded to me because the simple fact she was bought as protection for me from Mr. Van Beek. That was my understanding. I had all the say in picking out her. I have grown extremely close to her. She has been the only thing that kept it tolerable in the nightmare that was being married to Mr. Van Beek. She is very much a service dog, and she's my whole world.
When did Mr. Van Beek move out of the marital home?
I believe it was around November 16, 2025.
Was that after you obtained a PPO against him?
Yes.
And did he take Rogue with him?
No, he did not. He left Pebbles and Rogue. When I came into the house after he left, they had no food, no water down. They were extremely high anxiety. They looked Pebbles looked very thin.
And who has taken care of the dogs since November of 2025?
I have.
And apparently Pebbles suddenly died in January of this year?
Unfortunately, yes.
Tell us briefly, real quickly, how'd that come about?
Um, it was beginning of January. He wasn't feeling well. He was having a little trouble eating. He was kind of throwing up and had diarrhea. I was doing the best I could. I was planning on taking him to the emergency vet the next morning. I put him to bed the night before, and I woke up and he was gone. He had passed in his sleep.
That was Pebbles,
Yes,
Mr. Van Beek's dog that the two of you picked out.
correct.
And Rogue was the dog that you and Mr. Van Beek picked out for you.
That is correct.
Are you working right now?
No, I'm not.
Why not?
Truthfully, this has been really hard emotionally, healing from the emotional and physical abuse of Mr. Van Beek. I've spent this time focusing on my mental health. I see a counselor once a week. It's just been very hard to keep a job and keep my mind on that while I'm still dealing with trauma.
Is it your intention to go back to work?
Absolutely.
Did you try to make this marriage work?
I tried. I tried very hard.
I mean, I suppose an obvious question is why didn't you leave earlier? Or why didn't you kick him out of the house earlier or file for divorce earlier?
Truthfully, it's never easy breaking up a marriage. Mr. Van Beek had 2 children who I was very close with. I had a great relationship with both of them. I stayed a lot for them so that they could have someone stable from their father's side. And so I could support them and encourage them.
And from November through now, you have been paying all of the expenses for Rogue.
That is correct.
And do you recall how much you spent in Myers, just on Myers for the animals since November of 2025?
From November 2025 to now has been well over $1,500, I believe.
That would include vet bills.
Yes.
And you, all the credit card, move to the credit cards. I know we touched on them earlier, but um, did you have any say over what was charged on those cards?
No.
Did you ever see, besides fish tanks showing up in the house and Amazon showing up, did you know what items were being purchased?
No, I did not.
Have you had the benefit of any of those items?
To my knowledge, no.
And your request for the judge as far as the debts is that Mr. Van Beek should be responsible for them?
That is correct.
Do you have any debts? Well, besides the mortgage,
Mortgage and medical bills.
but no credit card?
No, sir, I don't have one.
Um, did you have any credit cards during the marriage?
No, I did not.
With regard to the division of assets, you are asking the judge to provide you or give you a higher share than 50-50.
That's correct.
In fact, you are asking that the judge give you a 65% share of the marital equity and the assets. Is that right?
That is correct.
Specifically, the equity that the home increased in value and the equity that increased in value of your Costco retirement plan.
That's correct.
Now, Mr. Van Beek also has a retirement plan. Was that generated during the marriage, to the best of your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Now, I will wait for his testimony to, judge to go into the numbers on that. The appraisal, you want, the judge to have Mr. Van Beek pay you half of the appraisal?
Yes,
How much, did you pay the appraisal?
I paid for all of it, yes.
How much was it?
$700.
So how much of that are you asking the judge to award you?
It would be half, so $350.
And you're asking the judge to give, or you or to put a value on the personal property of $25,000, 200?
That's correct.
You think that is fair
That is,
for the assets that he kept?
that's correct.
Let me review my notes for a second, Judge. I can mute myself a minute. I'd ask my client if I've missed anything, so hang on.
That's fine.
I have no further questions of my client at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Schultz.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Dozman. Ms. Dozman, I want to start by talking about the marital home. You're asking the court today to order that the home is worth $220,000, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you completed a verified financial information form in this case. Do you recall that?
Yes,
Okay. And on that, did you recall reporting the value differently than what the appraised value was?
at the time I filled out the paperwork, yes, I wasn't sure on the actual amount. So by Bruce's advice, we took the Zillow estimate, and that's what was from Zillow. It was
Okay.
244.
Ms. Dozman, let me know when you can see this.
I can see that.
Okay, perfect. And this is the appraisal that you were walking through with Mr. Block a little bit ago, correct?
Can you make it just a little bit bigger?
I can.
I was just gonna ask that.
Is that better?
Yes, it is.
The one up
Okay.
there.
Ms. Dozman, this is what you were walking through with Mr. Block earlier. You would agree that that's the same appraisal?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And on page 6 of the appraisal, there's some notes here from the appraiser, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And he indicates that the subject home is below average condition. You would agree?
Absolutely.
Okay. And his following sentence says, while much of this is housekeeping, the house shows excessive wear and tear and a general lack of maintenance. Other than the uncut grass, it does not appear to be staging for the appraisal. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And in fact, there's various pictures of the home, and you would agree that the grass hasn't been mowed.
That's correct.
Okay. You would agree that there's what appears to be trash and broken doors in the front yard.
That's correct.
There's no edging done or anything like that along the sidewalk, correct?
Correct.
And the inside is in quite a bit of disarray as well.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And this appraisal was complete when?
I believe it was March 19th.
Of 2026?
Yes, 2026.
Okay. And Mr. Van Beek moved out of the home in November of 2025. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Let's walk through the debts. I'm going to pull up, I might not need it. The first debt you talked about is Exhibit 9. I'm not going to pull it up right now, but that's the Capital One card. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you don't dispute that that card was open during the marriage, right?
No.
Okay, no, you
No,
don't
it was
dispute
open
that.
during the marriage, I assume.
Okay, okay. And this is also the card that you and Mr. Black were walking through that has the fish tank purchase on it. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And your testimony today, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your testimony is that you're asking a value to be assigned to that fish tank, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're also asking that the value or that debt be assigned to Mr. Van Beek, correct?
That is correct.
And that debt includes the purchase of that fish tank.
Correct.
Okay. Did you and Mr. Dozeman discuss absolutely every purchase you made during the marriage?
Absolutely not.
Would you agree that that same card in the statements that you went through with Mr. Block, there's also purchases at hardware stores?
That is correct.
Okay, and you also testified that Mr. Dozeman, or Mr. Van Beek, sorry, did various repairs throughout the house, regardless of whether you think they were done correctly.
Correct.
Okay, there's gas station purchases on there.
That's correct.
Okay, did Mr. Van Beek drive to work?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Exhibit 10 is, I believe, another credit card, and that's the other Capital One card. Do you recall talking about that one?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and in that, there's various State Farm charges, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and you would agree with me that State Farm is an insurance company?
Yes.
Okay, so that could be home insurance.
No, because the home insurance was part of my escrow.
Okay, would it be car insurance?
It would be car insurance, yes.
Okay, and those charges are significant. There's 406.61 monthly coming out for State Farm. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Okay. I think you testified that one of the children's dental work is on that same card. Is that your testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You don't have proof of whose dental work that was?
No, I did not.
Okay. Exhibit 11 you walked through with Mr. Black is an American Express loan. You would agree with me that that was also taken during the marriage?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Same with the Happy Money loan, which we looked at previously, and that was Exhibit 12. You'd agree with me that that was also taken out during the marriage?
First time I've heard about it was a couple weeks ago, but yes.
Okay. You testified you did know he had credit cards.
Yes.
Okay. Talk about the personal property and the expenses. Yeah, let's talk about the personal property first. I think you testified that this snowblower was yours that you purchased before the marriage.
Yes, it was.
Okay, and who was it that has that in their possession?
Mr. Van Beek.
Okay, do you have proof of today that you've paid for that snowblower before the marriage?
No, I do not. I paid cash.
Okay, and I think you said there was it was at the Sleep Number bed that you still have?
That's correct.
Okay, you recall going to mediation in this matter just a couple months ago?
Yes.
Okay, and during mediation, did you reach an agreement as to various matters in this case, as well as property division?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I'm going to pull up Exhibit B. Can you see Exhibit B?
Yes.
Okay, and is this the memorandum of understanding that you signed following mediation?
That is correct.
Okay, and this is your signature on the bottom there.
That's correct.
And as to household items, it indicates the parties agree they will share the cost to move the fish tanks, fish, and fish items, correct?
Correct.
It goes through and talks about various items that you've agreed upon to divide and how they're going to be removed from the home. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then there's an attachment to that, which is the items that are undisputed, which don't say anything next to them. But then there's these disputed items that indicate disputed next to them, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and so the agreement essentially was that anything that does not say disputed was what Mr. Van Beek would be picking up from the marital home.
That is correct.
Okay, and one of those items is the custom headboard made by Defendant, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, another item is that sleep number bed, the king sleep number, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and so you agreed at mediation that in writing, that Mr. Van Beek would be maintaining those two items as his personal property in this divorce.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and then since that, you've unilaterally decided that you're going to keep them.
That's correct. Trying to get the headboard off the wall, and it's completely bolted and is going to leave a ginormous hole in my wall.
You knew how that was put up before you went to mediation and agreed on this, did you not?
No, I did not.
So you weren't aware that it was attached to the wall?
I wasn't aware it was bolted to the wall.
Okay, but it is possible to remove it.
Yes,
And I believe you testified that that is also the only bed that you have, and so you at this point want to go back on that agreement and keep it?
that is correct.
Okay. I'm going to bring back up Exhibit 1, which again, for the record, is the same exhibit as Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, but I'm using the colored copy. Can you see this?
Yes, I can.
Can you make it bigger?
I can. Okay. We've established that this appraisal was completed in March of 2026.
That's correct.
Okay, and this is the basement at the home, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and this is a bed in the left-hand corner, is it not?
Yes, it is.
And you don't sleep in the basement?
No, I do not.
Let's talk about the dogs. It's Pebbles that passed away, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said that that occurred in January of this year,
Yes, it did.
and Pebbles was Mr. Van Beek's dog.
Correct.
Okay, and your dog that you're alleging is Rogue, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and Rogue is still alive.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there's been no health issues with Rogue.
No, she's doing great.
Okay. Did you take how often did you take the dogs? How many times would you say the dogs had been to the vet since November of 2025?
Rogue has been there once.
Okay, and what about Pebbles?
No, he was never at the vet.
Okay. And Pebbles died in January of this year, and Mr. Van Beek was not informed of Pebbles' death until at least 5 months later, correct?
That is correct. I was advised by Mr. Block to not tell him because the plaintiff was 2 houses down and his history of violence with me. Didn't want to trigger anything.
Rogue's not a service dog.
Legally, no, she's not.
And you testified about being close with Mr. Van Beek's children throughout the marriage, and that was your reason for staying longer than you believe you should have.
That's correct.
Okay, when did Mr. Van Beek's, how old are Mr. Van Beek's children?
They are 18 and 20 now.
Okay. Do they still live with you?
No, they never lived with us.
Okay. Where did they live?
With their mother in Newego.
How often were they with you?
In the summer, every other week, school year, every other weekend.
Do you still talk with them now?
I have not spoken with them since the divorce was filed. No.
We're going to go a little bit backwards, but I want to go back to something that you started with, and that is the issue or your concerns with Mr. Van Beek's drinking throughout the marriage, okay? The first incident that you testified to was in 2021, so we're talking well over 5 years ago.
No, it was 2022.
2022 was the first one?
January, yes.
Okay. And what was the date of the second?
February 27th, 2022.
Okay, so within a month of each other?
Yes.
Okay. And then what was your testimony about the third?
The third was the following year on my birthday, February 3rd, 2023, that he had raped me. Or attempted to rape, excuse me.
And then I believe that you testified the next incident that you're alleging occurred in 2025.
Correct.
Okay. Throughout the marriage, you're repeatedly going to the bar with Mr. Van Beek, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you also indicated, I believe, that at least two, if not all of those events started when the two of you were out drinking at the bar.
That is correct.
Okay. And you continue to go to the bar with him.
That is correct.
Okay. And you even picked him up from the bar when you weren't with him at some point, didn't you?
That's correct.
Okay. You were drinking heavily throughout the marriage at different points?
Different points, yes.
You talked about some security cameras that you found in the home. You were aware that there were cameras in the home throughout the marriage, though?
Yes, I was. I knew that there were some. There was 3 or 4 more that I didn't know about, though.
You knew there was 3 or 4 more that you didn't know about?
No, I didn't know there was 3 or 4 of them. I knew about the surveillance outside of the home and the one sitting on the coffee table in the living room.
Okay. Did you contact the police after you found the one you said you found in the bedroom?
No, I did not.
And this was after Mr. Van Beek moved out of the home that you found it?
Yes.
Okay. Your request is to keep the home, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it your request also that you'd be keeping all of the items in that home, aside from the ones that are listed on the memorandum of understanding?
That's correct.
Okay. And you would agree with me that there is a significant amount of items in that home?
Yes.
We haven't gone through the values of those items.
No.
Okay, you haven't provided an inventory of those items that remain in the home, have you?
No, it was mostly personal property, my clothes and knickknacks. Nothing of real value, so
You don't have any furniture in the home?
we had a couch. I had gotten rid of it because it was completely destroyed.
Okay. When did you get rid of the couch?
Believe it was 2 months ago, and I had offered the old couch to Mr. Van Beek, and he declined to take it.
Okay, so you have, is that the same couch we're talking about, the one that you offered to Mr. Van Beek?
That is correct.
Okay, so you offered it to Mr. Van Beek, he said no, and then you got rid of it.
That's correct.
Okay, so you have no furniture or place to sit at this point?
No, I'm sitting on, uh, uh, like camping chairs.
Okay. Um, you, give me 1 second. There is, there's computer chairs in the home, correct?
There was, we put them in the
Okay.
garbage, I believe.
You've put those in the garbage as well?
Garage, I
Oh,
believe.
the garage. Okay, so there's items in the garage too.
There was.
Ms. Dozeman, would you be surprised to learn that the security cameras were not in the garage when Mr. Van Beek came to pick them up?
Yes, I would.
Okay, because you put them in there.
Yes.
In what manner did you offer Mr. Van Beek to keep the couch? Like, how did that conversation happen?
I had went to my attorney, asked him, I believe he discussed it with you to ask Mr. Van Beek, and I was told that he didn't want it. And I also sent pictures proving that it was complete trash. I mean, there was literally springs sticking out of the cushions.
Okay. When was that couch purchased?
I bought it in January 2020.
And then finally, we talked about a significant amount of tools that you say that Mr. Van Beek took all of those with him as well when he came to the home to pick up personal property.
That's correct.
Okay, and some of those tools, at least some of them were purchased before the marriage.
Yes.
Okay, and were some of those tools the snap-on tools that you were talking about as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions for Ms. Dozeman.
Mr. Block,
I have no follow-up.
all right. And any additional witnesses?
No, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Schultz?
Thank you. I would call Mr. Van Beek.
Right, Mr. Van Beek, would you raise your right hand, please? State your name for the record and spell it.
Stephen Van Beek, STEVEN VANBEEK.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. And is there anyone sitting there with you?
My daughter's on the other couch.
I noticed that you were speaking to someone, or it appeared you were speaking to someone during the testimony, and I wanted to make sure who was present. Okay, Ms. Schultz.
Thank you. Mr. Van Beek, you heard the testimony Ms. Dozeman gave regarding the date you were married, date of separation, etc., correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you would agree to those dates? You don't dispute any of that?
Yeah, they're correct.
I'm sorry, Ms. Schultz, I'm gonna interrupt. I meant to say this and I forgot. Had we preserved proofs? And if not, we need to do that before.
I don't think we did.
Any
I think
objections
Mr.
taking care of that before we move on?
Yeah, I'm happy to do so.
Okay, sorry about
Um,
that. I meant to bring
nope.
it up at the end and I forgot.
Okay.
Ms. Dozeman, you're still under oath? You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Block.
Ms. Dozeman, prior to filing your complaint for divorce, in this matter, had you been a resident of Kent County for 10 days and a resident of the state of Michigan for 180 days?
Yes, I have.
You married the defendant on, I don't have the complaint here. You married the defendant on what date?
June 19, 2021.
Okay. Were there any children born during the marriage?
No.
Are you currently pregnant?
No.
Has there been a breakdown in the marital relationship to the extent that the objects of matrimony have been destroyed and there remains no reasonable likelihood that this marriage can be preserved?
That is correct.
In other words, you don't plan to get back together with Mr. Van Beek.
Absolutely not.
You don't plan to reconcile with Mr. Van Beek.
No, I do not.
And aside from the assets that we're talking about here, the everything else has, or there are no other assets that have not been brought to mediation or to this case.
That's correct.
I think I covered it, Judge.
All right, thank you. Proofs are preserved. Sorry, Ms. Schultz.
Thank you.
Yeah. We
Mr.
lost
Van
Mr.
Beek,
Van Beek. You still there, Mr. Van Beek?
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Okay.
Mr. Van Beek, you heard Ms. Dozeman and Mr. Black walk through the memorandum of understanding. Well, actually, Mr. Block did it before we even started testimony, right? As to things you and Ms. Dozeman agree on.
Yes,
Okay. And would you agree that you also agree to be bound by those terms?
yes,
Let's talk about the marital home first. You don't dispute that Ms. Dozeman purchased the marital home before the two of you were married, correct?
correct.
Okay. Did you ever live in the home before you and Ms. Dozeman married?
Yes,
Okay. And when did you when did she purchase the home?
I'm not sure the date.
Okay. When did you move in?
Right after she purchased the home.
Okay. And I believe she introduced a down payment check from July 26, 2019. Would that have been around that time then that you moved in?
Correct.
Okay. And so were the two of you together in a relationship before she even purchased the home?
Correct.
Okay. Did you contribute financially at all when you lived in the home before you were married?
Yes, I did.
Okay. In what ways?
Before we got married, I redone all the floors. I believe the slider, I installed the slider before we were married. And I gave her half the house payment in cash every month.
Okay. Do you believe, well, let me ask you this. Did you review the appraisal that we have walked through today?
Yes,
And do you believe that based on that appraisal, did the things that you contributed, like the floors, the slider door, contribute to the value of the marital home today?
yes.
Do you recall approximately how much you contributed to the home as far as repairs or upgrades before you were married?
Probably 9,000.
Okay. And was that from your own separate account?
Yes,
Are you asking Ms. Dozeman to reimburse you for that $9,000?
yes,
And I assume you heard Ms. Dozeman's testimony that she believes the marital home is worth $220,000 today. Would you agree with that value?
no. In the
Okay,
condition
why?
it's in now, yes.
Okay. What was the condition when you, well, let me ask you this. You've reviewed the appraisal. Is the condition of the home at the time of the appraisal in March 2026 the condition of the home when you left in November of 2025?
No.
Okay. And what was the condition? What are the differences?
The whole ceilings out of what was my daughter's room.
Okay. And so was that ceiling intact when you
General
moved out?
maintenance, unmaintenanced, upkeep.
Okay. Who mowed the lawn during the marriage?
I did.
Who took care of the yard?
We both did.
Okay. What about the interior of the home? Who took care of that primarily as far as just regular maintenance?
Primarily her.
Okay. Did she stop doing that before you moved out or after?
After.
Um, Do you have any reason to dispute the historical value of the home as far as that it was worth $167,000 on the day that she purchased it?
No,
Okay. Let's talk about how the appraisal came to be. You understand that Ms. Dozeman is asking you to pay for half of the cost of the appraisal?
yes,
Okay. And were you involved in the selection of the appraiser, anything like that? Were you involved in the process?
no.
Okay. And so from your understanding, how did that come to be about?
I got asked to pay half an appraisal of 350, I want to say it was. And then I agreed to that, and then I turned around and it was double that.
Okay. And so if anything is to be awarded to Ms. Dozeman for your half of the appraisal, are you asking that it be the original amount of 350?
Half the original amount of 350.
Okay. Let's talk about the dogs. You heard Ms. Dozeman testify regarding the dogs, but I want you to walk me through how and when it came to be that Rogue and Pebbles were purchased.
We wanted a dog. We drove to Indiana. I picked out Pebbles. I paid the $1,400 for him. And then 2 months later, him and my daughter, we decided to get Pebbles a girlfriend so they could have a litter and have a playmate. I let her and my daughter pick out the female. I paid $1,500 for her right around the corner.
And was that before the two of you were married?
Yes,
Okay. And so did that $1,500 come out of your own personal account?
yes.
And then Pebbles unfortunately passed away. When were you first made aware that Pebbles passed away?
In mediation or shortly before mediation?
Okay. And was that months after Pebbles actually died?
Oh, yes.
Were you ever given any information on what really happened to Pebbles?
No.
Okay. Why did you not take the dogs with you when you initially moved out in November?
Because I had to move in with my elderly mother and I was worried about them jumping on her and hurting her, and she did not want them there.
Okay. Are they big dogs?
Yes.
Okay. And are you still living with your mom?
No, I am not. I currently bought a house.
Okay. And when did you move out of your mom's house?
Uh, End of May. I
Um,
tried to purchase a house with a fenced-in backyard as fast as I could so I could get my Rottweilers back.
did you ask Ms. Dozeman for the dogs back at that time?
There was still a PPO in effect. I did not know how to ask.
Okay. Are you asking the court to order Ms. Dozeman turn Rogue over to you?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And do you believe that Rogue is your dog?
Yes.
As far as Pebbles goes, are you asking for any sort of compensation for Pebbles no longer being around?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and what is that?
I would like the $1,400 I paid for him.
How old was Pebbles when he died?
If it was January, just over 5.
Did Pebbles have any health issues that you were aware of before you moved out?
No.
Let's talk about household and personal property. You saw me walk through the memorandum of understanding, including personal property that the two of you had agreed upon following mediation, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you agree on a date that you were to go to the marital home and retrieve that property?
Yes, I do not have the date in front of me though.
Yeah. The memorandum of understanding indicates that you would go to the marital home on June 28th of 2026. Is that when you went there?
Correct.
Okay. And based on your recollection, what was the agreement? How would it come to be that you would actually be retrieving the property from the home?
She would have a third party there and everything would be in the garage. And I would go to the garage and load everything up and take it.
When you arrived, did you see your items in the garage?
Yes, most of them.
Okay. Let me pull up Defendant's Exhibit E. And let me know when you can see this, Mr. Van Beek.
Yes,
Okay. Is this one of the Harley Davidson items that's listed in the memorandum of understanding that you were to receive?
yes,
Okay. And was this picture taken when you were at the marital home to retrieve it?
yes.
When you moved
That
out of the
one
marital,
was
go ahead.
that one was in a box still packaged up.
A box that
And that's what it
Ms.
looked like.
Dozeman put it in, or a box when you left the marital home in November, it was in a box packaged up?
I'm not sure.
Okay. When you left the marital home in November, did this clock look like that?
No,
And for the record, this indicates the photo was taken on June 28th, and would that have been when you were at the home retrieving property?
yes.
Mr. Van Beek, what is this a photo of?
Looks like a certificate of service for my honorable service in the United States Army.
Okay. And is that part of the property the agreed upon property you were to retrieve from the marital home on the 28th of June?
Yes, it is.
Where did you find this when you arrived at the marital home?
In the top of the pile in the middle of the garage.
Okay. And where was it when you left the marital home in November of 2025?
I believe it was in the paperwork on the kitchen counter inside the house or maybe on the side of the refrigerator.
Okay. Did it look like this when you left the house in November of 2025? I'm
No, it
sorry, I
did
think you
not.
cut out. Okay. And for the record, this was also taken on June 28th of 2026 and when you were at the marital home?
Correct.
Mr. Van Beek, what is this a photo of?
When we arrived at the marital home to get my stuff out of the garage.
And is that all of your items, or what was contained in that pile outside the garage?
Just a pile of trash.
Were your items mixed in there, or was it only trash?
It was only trash.
Okay. Where were your items?
Behind that in the garage.
Okay. Were they boxed up for you?
Just all over.
Okay. When you say all over, were they placed nicely all over?
No.
Okay. Then how were they laying?
Just nonchalantly, like they just thrown in there.
Okay. And again, for the record, this was also taken on June 28th, 2026 when you were at the marital home.
Correct.
And I believe this is what is this? A close-up?
This is a close up of the same pile.
Okay. And also taken on June 28th of 2026.
Correct.
As part of the memorandum of understanding, you agreed that you would be retrieving the fish tanks from the marital home, correct?
We would be receiving them, hiring a moving company to move them.
Okay, so you didn't receive them on that day.
No,
Okay, did you see the fish tanks on June 28th when you went to the home?
no, I did not.
Okay, and how long after the 28th did you actually have the fish tanks delivered, or when did you receive them?
Believe it was last week, Friday.
Okay. When you left the marital home in November of 2025, did the fish tanks look like they do in this photo?
Definitely not.
What differences can be seen in this photo as compared to what they looked like when you left the home in 2025?
There was 25 African cichlids in there doing well. A lot of color, clean water, clean tank. No keyed marks on the front of the base.
When, I guess, is African cichlid, is that a type of fish?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Um, what about this photo? What is this?
That is the side of that same aquarium base where it looks like somebody keyed DICK into it.
Okay. Was that there when you left the home in November of 2025?
Most definitely was not.
Okay. And where was this picture taken?
That is taken in my current living room.
And so did you notice this for the first time after the fish tanks were delivered to you?
Correct.
Aside from what was damaged when you went to retrieve your agreed upon personal property, was there anything that you were not able to retrieve?
The king size bed, the headboard. That might be it. I don't remember.
Were you able
And
to?
rogue,
And Rogue.
yes.
Ms. Dozman testified that you got all of your tools. Did you in fact get all your tools from the home?
I found I'm missing a 1/2 inch drive impact, a brad nailer.
Anything else?
um, Not that I can think of.
Okay. Are you asking that those items be returned to you?
Yes,
Okay. Are you, if Ms. Dozman no longer has those items, are you asking that you be assigned, she be essentially ordered to pay you the value to replace them?
yes. And I was missing the coffee table that was a set, part of the set.
Okay. Were you able to ascertain what would be the replacement value for those missing items?
Yes, I was.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up Exhibit D for you. What is this document?
That is an Amazon shopping cart of the missing tools, the cordless brad nailer.
Okay, and are you asking that is it your understanding that the $309.95 is what it would cost to replace that brad nailer?
Yes,
Are you asking that Ms. Dozman be responsible for paying you that amount if she is unable to produce the brad nailer in good working condition?
yes.
And what about this? Is this the coffee table that you were talking about?
That's not the exact coffee table. That's the closest I could find to the one that's missing.
Okay. Are you asking similarly that Ms. Dozman be ordered to produce the coffee table that she's already agreed you could have, or in the alternative, reimburse you $114 so you can purchase a new one?
Yes,
And then what is this?
That is the 1/2 inch drive impact. that I
And was
unable
that
to pick up.
missing?
Yes,
So similarly, are you asking that Ms. Dozeman produce this impact drill or reimburse you $189.90 so you can purchase a new one?
yes,
And what about this?
that is the orange clock that was in the earlier exhibit that is smashed.
Okay. And are you asking that Ms. Dozeman be ordered to pay you $119.95 to replace that broken clock?
Yes,
The two of you agreed on a significant number of items that you were to retrieve from the marital home, but there were various things that were disputed. One of those being the washer and dryer. Are those still in Ms. Dozeman's possession?
yes, they are.
And did the two of you purchase those during the marriage together?
No, I purchased them before premarital.
Okay. And was that from your own separate bank account?
Yes,
Okay. If Ms. Dozeman, let me pull up the exhibit for you. You heard Ms. Dozeman go through this memorandum of understanding and essentially assign values to each of these property items that were awarded to you. Do you recall that?
yes,
Okay. And the washer and dryer, there's a value of $1,500.
correct.
Because it's your testimony that those were your premarital appliances, are you asking that she return them to you or pay you $1,500 if she would like to keep them?
That is correct.
What about the refrigerator? Did you purchase that together during the marriage?
Premarital, I purchased.
Okay. And again, out of your separate bank account or you purchased it together?
Separate bank account.
And similarly, are you asking that she give that refrigerator to you or pay you the $1,600 value associated in this memorandum of understanding?
That is correct.
And what about the stove? Was that purchased during the marriage or before the marriage?
I purchased that also before the marriage.
Okay. And are you asking for the same for the stove, to either be given the stove or the $800 value of it?
That is correct.
And we talked about Rogue, so we won't go back into that. Ms. Dozeman went through the credit card debt that is listed or has been talked about in this case. I'm going to pull up Exhibit J. Do you understand that Ms. Dozeman's asking you to be responsible for all of the credit card debt?
Yes,
Okay. And do you agree with that?
no, I do not.
This is redacted, so I don't believe we need to stop the live streaming. But is this the credit report?
Yes,
Okay. And does this report, based on what you recall, accurately reflect the debts that have been disclosed in this case?
yes,
Let's walk through them. On page, and I'm gonna, because we were supposed to be in person, I'm gonna kind of go back and forth between my physical exhibit and this, so bear with me here. Page 4. There is, it looks like this is an American Express credit card, and the date this was opened was May 5th of 2024. Is that accurate?
Sounds correct.
Okay, and that would have been during the marriage?
Yes,
Um, is that debt, are you asking that that debt be considered marital?
yes.
Do you recall what that card was used for?
Believe it was used for cigarettes and other stuff. Not sure.
Were there marital expenses that were put on this card?
Yes,
Page 5 is an American Express card, and the opening date was June 24th of 2025. Would that have been during the marriage?
yes.
Do you recall what that card was used for?
That was a loan. It's loan for to pay off all their other bills,
When you say loan to pay off other bills, what other bills would that have paid?
other credit cards.
Would those have been credit cards that were also used during the marriage?
Yes,
On page 8, there's a Capital One credit card opened on February 18th of 2025. Would that have been opened during the marriage?
yes,
Okay, and this is the one I believe Ms. Dozeman was testifying to earlier that included fish tank and dental charges. Do you recall that?
yes.
Okay. Did you unilaterally make the decision to purchase the fish tank?
No, I talked to her about it probably a week before, even before I got the credit card.
And did the two of you agree on that purchase?
Yes,
What about dental charges? Do you know who those would have been for?
that was for my son.
Okay. Did you and Ms. Dozeman contribute financially on various things to, let me back up. Those are you're not disputing, those are your kids from a different relationship, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But did you and Ms. Dozeman use marital funds to pay for things for those kids throughout the marriage?
Yes,
Page 9 is the other Capital One card that we talked about earlier. And that was opened September 16th of 2015. That's before the marriage, correct?
correct.
Okay. Do you know what the balance on the card is as of the date this credit report was pulled in November of 2025?
0.
Okay. Do you recall, would it be accurate that this was used during the marriage and there was charges back in December of 2023 of a couple $1,000s?
Yes,
Okay, and so is the balance today actually lower than it was during the marriage?
yes,
Page 15 is the city card opened on May 17th of 2023. Would that have been during the marriage?
yes.
Okay, and how was this card used during the marriage?
Not sure. Different stuff.
Would
Not
they have
sure
been
without
marital
looking at.
expenses?
Yes,
On page 23, there's a Community West Credit Union line of credit opened in 2005. That was before the marriage, but do you recall whether it was used at all during the marriage or not?
yes.
Okay, do you know what for?
I would imagine to pay bills, gas. It's actually like an overdraft protection.
Okay, so is that, how does that work?
It's a revolving line of credit.
And so there would, although it was open before the marriage, would it have been possible to incur additional balances during the marriage?
Yes,
And then there's various closed accounts here, so we won't go through those. There's an Amazon account that was opened in February 10th of 2023. Would that have been during the marriage?
yes,
Okay. And Ms. Dozman testified about a significant number of Amazon purchases that happened during the marriage. What types of things were purchased during the marriage on Amazon?
fish tank supplies, smart switches, smart light switches, smart bulbs. Different stuff for around the house.
When you say around the house, would that have been in the marital home?
Yes,
And did Ms. Dozman use those items?
yes,
Did Ms. Dozman ever help pick out items purchased on Amazon?
yes,
And would this credit card have been used to pay for those items on Amazon?
yes,
All the debts that were incurred during the marriage, are you asking that the court consider those to be marital debts?
yes,
And although you're asking them to be marital debts, they are in your name, correct?
correct,
And you don't have any problem actually being responsible for paying those debts following the divorce?
correct.
Okay, but are you asking that they be considered in the grand scheme of things when we're talking about equalization payments, et cetera?
That is correct.
I'll walk you through Exhibit A. Can you see this, Mr. Van Beek?
Yes,
Okay, and is this include various line items of what contains all of the property and debts that we've talked about here today?
correct,
Okay, and just to confirm, there's no dispute as to division of the automobiles, the checking account, life insurance policy, or the retirement accounts, correct?
correct.
Okay, and is this your proposal for how the remainder of the estate would be equally divided?
That is correct.
Okay, and on the bottom of this, there is, are these the numbers that you're asking the court to equalize? $160,000 that is currently in Ms. Dozman's column, and $60,826.72 in your column.
Correct.
Okay, and so are you asking the court to order an equalization payment to make those numbers equal?
That is correct.
Do you, do you understand Ms. Dozman is asking that those numbers be allocated unequally?
I understand.
Okay, and do you think that is fair and equitable?
No, I do not.
Okay, she walked through a series of issues, or what she's posed as issues throughout the marital relationship, and is using that fault to say that the estate should be divided unequally. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay, I want to walk through some of that. You and Ms. Dozman were married in 2021.
Correct.
And she identifies what she alleges is essentially heavy drinking on your part. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do recall.
Okay. Would you agree with that?
Yes and no. Both of us were regulars, I guess you'd say.
And were you going to the bar together?
Yes.
Um, what do you believe led to the breakdown of the marriage?
Her finding a new significant other.
And when was that?
I found out when I was served the PPO when she took the house back over, he moved in with her.
Okay. And you heard Ms. Dozman testify regarding claims of sexual assault a couple years ago.
Yes.
And is that true?
No.
Okay, what happened?
That day we came home, she fell and tried to pass out in the kitchen. I carried her by her pants back pockets to the bed, put her in the bed, and I went on the couch and went to sleep.
Have you ever threatened to kill Ms. Dozman?
No.
Have you ever pointed a gun at Ms. Dozman?
No.
Was Ms. Dozman ever physically abusive to you?
We would yell back and forth.
Was Ms. Dozman verbally abusive to you ever?
Sometimes.
Ms. Dozman testified that there was cameras in the home. When were those cameras installed?
Over the course of the marriage, when I had one in the basement when my kids were smaller to keep an eye on them. The one on the coffee table was gonna go outside, but I was trying to help her get up for work. When I'd come home, she'd still be there telling me she overslept. So I just put it in the middle of the coffee table in the living room to try to help her get up.
Was Ms. Dozman aware of those cameras?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a camera in the bedroom?
No.
I have no other questions.
Good luck.
One second. Van Beek, I want to follow up on some of your testimony that you just did or just gave. It's your testimony that you contributed financially to improve the house. I think specifically you said you redid the floors and did about $9,000 in repairs and upgrades.
Yes.
But aside from your testimony, you have not presented any proofs, any receipts, any pictures, or anything else besides your testimony that you did these repairs and upgrades, correct?
Correct.
Your testimony was you paid half of the house payment in cash every month?
That's correct.
And again, you have not presented any proof today that you did that aside from your testimony. Correct?
Correct.
You agree that the valuation of the house at 220,000 is fair given the condition it's in?
That's correct in the condition it's in.
When you went to purchase Pebbles, did you go with Ms. Dozman?
Yes, she went with me.
And it was your testimony that when Rogue was purchased, you did not go with her.
I was there too.
Oh, I thought I heard you testify it was just Ms. Dozeman and your daughter.
No, all three of us went. I let them pick the dog out.
Do you agree that since you moved out of the house in November, you have not provided any dog food and not, or any type of support for the two dogs?
That is correct. There was a PPO against me.
But you agree that you live 2 houses away
That's correct.
and your mother was living, well, you were living at your mother's house?
Correct.
You agree your mother could have taken money or food or dog food over to Ms. Dozeman's house for the dogs?
In hindsight, yes.
Your testimony is when you left the house in November, the Harley Davidson clock was not broken.
That's correct.
Did you specifically get the box out, open the box and look at it in November before you left the house?
No, I did not.
So your testimony that it's broken, that is the way you found it in the garage.
Correct.
You don't know when it was broken or who broke it, correct?
Correct.
The same thing with the certificate of service. You don't remember where it was stored. You think it was, I believe, on the ledge or the side of the fridge.
Correct. I believe it was on the side of the fridge.
But you have no proof that Ms. Dozeman ripped it or
No.
it got torn. With regard to the missing items, I think you talked about a brad nailer, an impact drive. You have no proof that you ever owned those prior to your testimony today is that you owned them, correct?
I do believe I sent proof of a picture of them to my attorney the day I left the house.
But we have not, do you agree we have not seen that picture today?
Correct.
And it's simply your testimony, you didn't receive them.
Correct.
You have no, and weren't there 2 Harley Davidson clocks?
Yes.
And you got both of them.
No, the broken one I left there in the trash pile.
Isn't it a fact that Miss Dozeman bought one of those Harley Davidson clocks?
I believe so, maybe.
The property list, which is the defendant's exhibit B, I'm not gonna bother to pull it up, but those values on there, you are the one that put those values on those pieces of property, correct?
Correct.
And will you agree with me that a new fridge is not valued the same as a used fridge?
Correct.
That a used washer and dryer are gonna be worth less than a new washer or dryer?
Correct.
Do you have a washer and dryer at your current house?
Yes.
Do you have a refrigerator at your current house?
Yes.
Do you have a stove at your current house?
Yes.
Isn't it a fact that there are washers advertised all over the place, used ones for $100 on Marketplace, for example?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look.
Aren't there used fridges that are advertised on Facebook Marketplace for a couple $100 or $100?
I would imagine.
So the values you're trying to have Ms. Dozeman pay would be new values or
I
replacement value.
believe so.
You agree with me that Ms. Dozeman probably needs a refrigerator,
Correct.
that she probably needs a washer and dryer,
Yes.
to not have to go to a laundromat,
Correct.
that it is helpful to have a stove so you don't have to go in the backyard and make a campfire.
Correct.
Now, you testified as to the credit card debt, and you're asking that Ms. Dozman pay half of that.
Correct.
Do you agree with me that you and Ms. Dozman never merged your finances?
Correct.
You never had a joint account.
Correct.
And in February, May, and June of 2025, you opened 3 new credit cards.
Sounds correct.
And is it your testimony you consulted with Ms. Dozman and she agreed that you were going to open 3 brand new credit cards in early 2025?
We might not have talked when I opened them.
In fact, you have a lot of credit cards, don't you?
Yes.
You have a lot of debts.
Yes.
You have one called Happy Money personal loan for $12,500.
Correct.
And your testimony is you use that for marital expenses.
Correct.
What marital expenses?
I cannot say pay off all their credit cards, maybe.
That you had run up?
Correct.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as. Just a moment. Where do you currently work, Mr. Van Beek?
Corvette composites.
And you earn close to $100,000 a year?
Yes.
Could you spell that for the record, please, in case this ever has to be transcribed?
CORVACCOMPOSITES.
Okay, Judge, I'm going to pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 7 briefly.
Does this have any personally identifying information?
Oh, sorry, yes.
Okay.
So
Ms. Gibson,
do you agree with me, Mr. Van Beek, that Ms. Dozman probably needs a bed to sleep on?
Yes.
Are you willing to let her have that bed?
There is a bed, another bed in the basement. She can have it if she wants, as long as it equals out on her side.
You agree with me that $4,600 is for a used bed is probably not realistic?
I
Value.
paid $8,000 for it.
Do you really think a used bed is worth $4,600, sir?
It depends. I was willing to pay her half for it.
During the marriage, you would go gambling, correct?
Correct. We both played Keno.
Do you recall that you used to gamble a lot?
Sure.
Like hundreds of dollars at any given weekend?
Maybe. Yeah.
Was it more than a couple $100 on the weekends?
No.
The reason I ask, Mr. Van Beek, you make good money and you have all this debt and something just doesn't add up. So that was my question. How much are you gambling on a given week?
A couple $100 on a weekend we went out.
That's all?
That's it. And I played Mega Millions.
How much do you spend on that?
$10 a draw.
Now, you were in the military, correct?
Correct.
Where did you serve?
Germany, Iraq, South Carolina.
And I assume in basic training and other training, they teach you how to subdue people,
Correct.
how to take people down.
Correct.
And your testimony is you never hit Ms. Dozman.
No,
Never struck her.
I pushed her, I think twice.
Never tried to strangle her on February 27th.
No,
Was it 27th or 23rd? You didn't, do you own a 9mm?
yes, I own two.
Your testimony is you never pointed it at her,
That is correct.
threatened to kill her.
No,
Do you agree that on February 27th of 2022, you were arrested for domestic violence
correct. That is correct.
against Ms. Dozman and your mother?
Correct.
And do you agree that you were convicted of domestic violence in 2011?
No,
Who were you dating in January 31st of 2011?
I couldn't tell you.
You don't recall being arrested by the Wyoming Police Department on January 31st of 2011?
Yes,
And were you convicted of assault and battery?
simple
And I'm gonna
assault.
object.
Yes,
First of all, none of this was addressed. I mean, him and any other relationship on direct. And additionally, I don't know how anything between him and someone else is remotely relevant to this case.
I'll move on.
All right.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Ms. Schultz.
Thanks. Very briefly, Mr. Van Dijk, regarding the condition of the home, do you believe the only reason that the house is undervalued, your testimony today that you believe it's undervalued, is because of the current condition it's in?
yes,
Okay. And is it also your testimony today that the condition today is worse than it was when you left?
yes,
And do you believe that's because of a lack of maintenance done by Ms. Dozman on the house?
correct.
Do you have any reason to believe that she would have purposely decreased the value of the home?
To keep more money in her pocket.
And are you asking the court to simply order that Ms. Dozman be responsible for the decrease in value in the home based on her failure to maintain it?
Yes,
Mr. Van Beek, do you have a gambling problem?
no,
Did Ms. Dozman know that you gambled from time to time throughout the marriage?
yes,
Did Ms. Dozman also gamble throughout the marriage?
yes.
Thank you. No other questions.
Block.
I have no further questions of this witness.
I have no other witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. How do the attorneys want to handle closings? Do you want to submit something in writing? You want to do it orally now? I've got 4:42 p.m. as the clock on the computer says.
I can do it now, Judge. Either way.
Ms. Schultz?
I'm fine either way. I'll let Mr. I'll
Okay,
defer
why
to
don't we
Mr.
do it
Smith.
now as long as it's fairly brief?
Very good. I guess I go first, don't I?
You do.
This was as the court has heard, this was a 5-year marriage. They were married in June of 2021. It was a relatively short marriage. There were no children. As was brought out in testimony, as far as the assets go, and in the plaintiff's trial brief is what our suggested division of the marital equity would be, using a 65-35% share. On page 7 of my trial brief, the defendant would get $29,491 of plaintiff's 401k using a quadro. Well, there is a table, Judge. I'm not going to just read it all into the record. I know you're very capable of reading these numbers, but when you take the home equity, the increase in marital equity, which was $61,898, you take plaintiff's increase in equity in her amazing Costco retirement plan of $112,731, and then you add defendant's 401k of $28,469. That leaves a total of $203,098, which you would and the court will have to figure out how to divvy that up. Below that, you'll notice that not to be forgotten is the half the cost of the appraisal. It was agreed that we were going to split it. It turns out that to get one at the time of marriage and one at the time of now basically cost more than was anticipated. I think that's fair to have defendant pay the $375. We agreed at mediation as far as the Fat Boy motorcycle being assigned a value of $3,500. The personal property, I know we spent a fair bit of time on that today. Half of the personal property that the defendant has kept is $25,000, $25,200. The court heard, and I'm not going to rehash all the reasons of why this marriage broke down, but it seemed very clear that there was excessive drinking, and that the defendant, particularly when he got drunk, would become aggressive and angry, and would push plaintiff to the floor. One time he strangled her. Why she didn't leave? Well, I suppose you could ask that question of a lot of battered women, why they didn't leave. You try to make it work. You try to make it work. She loved defendant's kids. She declined to press charges, including, even from guns being pointed at her. Defendant telling her he was going to kill her. And then after a defendant moves out, she finds a camera hidden in the closet facing the bed. If she'd called the police, defendant would most likely have been obviously charged with some type of serious charge. I don't know why she didn't. I think she just wanted to get the heck away from him. She has suffered. She has suffered a lot. I think it's self-evident that she has suffered from this marriage, including a suicide attempt just to escape, to get out. I'm glad she finally has gotten out and sought counseling following the suicide attempt, has got sober. I think the suggested settlement that we have proposed is fair, following the court's well aware of Sparks versus Sparks. It is not necessarily a 50-50 assessment. The court has to look at the duration of the marriage, the contribution of the parties to the marital estate. I haven't seen proof of the defendant contributing anything to the marital estate, except I suppose his 401k plan. The necessities and circumstances, my client is still not able to work. because of the abuse and the suffering from this marriage. And as far as earning capacity, the defendant has testified he's earning about $100,000 a year. My client right now is earning nothing. It is her intent, and she is working towards getting back to work. But clearly fault in this case has been shown. And general principles of equity, I believe, would establish that she should receive a higher percentage, as we have laid out on page 8 of our trial brief. And finally, as far as the dog, the testimony was the parties were cohabiting. This is a very big concern and issue for my client. The parties were cohabiting. They bought 2 dogs several months apart. One was for the defendant, one was for the plaintiff. He agreed. She picked him out along with his daughter. She took care of him. When he left in November, he left both dogs at the house, didn't provide for him, essentially abandoned him. Plaintiff has grown very close to the dog that defendant bought for her, for lack of a better word. And I think it would be very, very wrong to rip that dog away from her at this point, given her testimony that this is kind of an emotional support dog for her. She went and bought the dog while they were cohabiting. This is not a situation where defendant came into the marriage with the dog already bought. They bought it together. They bought Pebbles. Sadly, Pebbles died, but it would be wrong, I believe, to award Rogue to the defendant at this point. And I think the defendant needs to be responsible for his excessive debt and his excessive spending. In one 3-month period, he opened, I think it was 3 or 4 credit cards. The plaintiff testified she had no idea what he was doing with the money. I mean, $10,000 here, $12,500 there, and what do we have to show for it? I haven't seen anything, and I haven't seen any proof that he contributed anything. The testimony was the plaintiff paid all the bills. Plaintiff paid the mortgage. But we would ask that the court follow the settlement or the suggested settlement on page 8 of our trial brief, and award plaintiff the dog, award defendant to keep his personal credit card debt. He's very able to pay for it. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm really just going to get into the disputed issues here. First being the marital home. The court heard testimony that the parties lived together before they were married. Mr. Van Beek and Ms. Dozeman didn't dispute the fact that Mr. Van Beek purchased things at various hardware stores for the purpose of repairing or doing improvements in the marital home. So inadvertently, there's no dispute that he was contributing to the home before the marriage even occurred. The appraisal itself identifies new floors that Mr. Van Beek testified he paid for and put in the home. I think, if they want to talk about the Sparks factors and contribution, there's a significant contribution to the estate throughout this marriage by Mr. Van Beek. I think what is interesting about that is there is a direct I think there's ample evidence to show a direct attempt to decrease the value of the marital estate on Ms. Dozeman's behalf. The court saw the photos of the marital home. The court heard Mr. Van Beek testify that this is not how the home looked when he left. The appraisal identifies significant lack of maintenance to the home. And Mr. Van Beek testified that the ceiling wasn't falling through when he left in November. So any issues identified in this appraisal report of the marital home as of March of this year are a direct cause of Ms. Dozeman's either intentional decrease in value of the home or just her complete care to maintain what's a marital asset, which she had the requirement to do while this divorce was pending. And so Mr. Van Beek is asking that the court use a higher value than the $220,000 as the current value for the marital home. And he would ask that the court would use her own value that she placed in her financial information form just a couple months ago of $244,000. That being said, looking at Defendant's Exhibit A, which is the property balance sheet, or what he's proposing as the property balance sheet in this case, would be plaintiff receiving $85,897.61 of marital equity from this home. Regarding household and personal property, the court saw the memorandum of understanding. These parties agreed at mediation just a couple months ago what Mr. Van Beek was going to remove from the marital home. At the time that agreement was made, I find it disingenuous that Ms. Dozeman didn't know how a headboard was attached. She unilaterally decided that she was going to dishonor a signed agreement that the parties reached and keep things that were rightfully agreed upon to be Mr. Van Beek's following this divorce. The court saw photos that he comes to the house to get his property and it's thrown in a pile in the garage. Stuff is broken. I understand that, it's Ms. Dozeman's allegation that, Mr. Van Beek didn't know really what the status of this property was when he left the home, right? He didn't really know what the certificate looked like. Was it ripped? Was the clock broken? I don't know. But I think the court can make some inferences here based on what the fish tank looked like. There's expletives carved into the side of Mr. Van Beek's fish tank when he gets it back. And so I think that the court can reasonably infer from that these other damages or missing items were absolutely deliberate on Ms. Dozeman's behalf, and Mr. Van Beek would ask that she be held responsible for that, and that in addition to any equalization payment, she pay Mr. Van Beek the replacement values for those items. Similarly to anything that she's asking to keep that he purchased before the marriage. Regarding the dog, and I think this closely aligns with the intentional damage Ms. Dozeman's caused to Mr. Van Beek's personal property. It is incredibly ironic and a little, frankly, very curious that this dog dies in January. Mr. Van Beek doesn't find out until nearly 6 months later that the dog is dead. There's been no documentation provided as to the dog's death. Mr. Van Beek testified that the dog had 0 health issues before. This was a young dog. And ironically, it's Mr. Van Beek's dog, or what Ms. Dozeman is identifying as Mr. Van Beek's dog. Again, I think there's a lot of inferences that can be made here that his dog disappears, but her dog is fine. And so again, I think this is simply also a case of the fact that, yes, maybe they went together, maybe Ms. Dozeman picked out Rogue, but Mr. Van Beek paid for Rogue. There was no dispute that he paid for Rogue, that Rogue was purchased with his funds before the marriage, and so Mr. Van Beek would ask that Rogue be returned to him now that he has his own place to live, and we don't have to worry about his mom getting injured by the dogs jumping. Regarding the debt, there was no dispute as we walked through the debt that these cards and loans were taken during the marriage. Mr. Van Beek's property balance sheet, which is Defendant's Exhibit A, identifies various debts that he's agreeing, yeah, that was incurred before the marriage. What he's not willing to do is say that anything incurred during the marriage is his separate debt. And I don't think that the law supports that. They were incurred during the marriage. Ms. Dozeman, we walked through on cross-examination that there's insurance expenses, there's hardware store expenses. There is, you know, dental costs for Mr. Van Beek's son of a prior relationship, but Ms. Dozeman has also testified that, you know, they did purchase things together for those kids as well. And so it's not out of the ordinary that there would be those types of expenses on there. Ultimately, what it sounds like is that Ms. Dozeman is now having some buyer's remorse. She either didn't pay attention or didn't care to pay attention, or was just completely fine with it. Either way, these debts were incurred during the marriage. They should be considered marital debts in the division of this property as a whole. Regarding fault, they both drank. They both testified that they drank. They were both at the bar together. Ms. Dozeman wants to come into court today and claim that Mr. Van Beek was abusive and he drank and all this stuff. But then on the flip side, Ms. Dozeman is testifying that even when she wasn't with him, she was going to pick him up if he was drinking. She's damaging his personal property. I don't think that as somebody who's truly afraid and has truly been through various abusive events in the marriage. And so we would ask that the court doesn't consider that fault. To the contrary, Mr. Van Beek testified that the fault that should be considered is that Ms. Dozeman didn't just get sick of the alleged abuse. Ms. Dozeman found somebody else, and at that point is when she decided to backtrack on all of this and start reporting what she deemed to be abuse. So we would ask that the court would equally divide the estate according to Mr. Van Beek's Exhibit A, which would be a equalization payment to him of $49,642.96, in addition to the other reimbursements that were discussed earlier. Thank you.
Thank you. I will take this under advisement and get a written decision out to you, hopefully before too long.
Thank you.
Further.
Nothing further from plaintiff.
Nothing.
All right, thank you.
Nothing, Your Honor.